Today I'm talking about our lead small book, and I'm talking about chapter 4, which is Make It Personal. And being a small group leader, being a worship leader, a host in production, whatever you may be, those are all really important roles here. But we cannot perform our roles if we're not taking care of ourselves and leading ourselves. And that's all this chapter was about. So I wanted to first share with you my experience where I have at one point in my life, I was in college, I was trying to pour into all these people, take care of people. Everyone always called me mom. I just wanted to love on people and make sure everyone else was taken care of, to the point where I was not taking care of myself, and I crashed so badly. Like, I was at such a low point in my life, and all I wanted to do was love on other people, but I didn't have any energy. I had nothing to give. And that was because I wasn't taking the time to make sure that I myself was taken care of. And if you're not taking care of yourself, we can't lead others. We can't take care of our middle schoolers as well as we can and should be. So that's the one question I want you to ask yourself today as you're sitting here. Are you taking care of yourself? Because if you're not, we're not going to be able to be the example, be that mentor, be the role model for our students. Our students are watching us, whether we know it or not. They're watching our social media. They're watching our interactions with each other as leaders. We want to make sure that we're being a good, godly example for our students in every aspect of our life, and that includes our quiet time, time outside of here, all of those things. So there are three main things that this chapter talked about that we should make sure we're taking care of ourselves in our personal life. The first one was live in community. It's important that you have a community around you of believers that are going to support you and pour into you. This time with our students, they're not able to pour into us like we should be getting poured into by other adults, by other high schoolers. People, they're so much younger than us. Yes, that's refilling, it's refreshing, we can learn from them, absolutely. But we're not able to get adequately poured into by them, as this is our only time and community every week. So make sure you have friends, a small group, have family, church community, whatever it may be that you are getting poured into. Making sure you're going to service, being around other adult believers. That is so important. You should not let this be the only service you are attending every weekend. You need to be in Maine. Last part is join a small group. If you are not part of a small group yourself, I cannot tell you enough how empowering it is to have that community and to build those relationships with other believers. It actually really does change your life, and I can firsthand tell you that joining that small group, making that time really helps benefit you. The second one was setting priorities. So asking yourself, what do you value most? What are your priorities? Who are your priorities? The only way we can effectively be able to discuss authentic things with our students is if we are authentically living our life and saying what's most important and setting value on those things. So one of the most important things is our spiritual priorities. Are you having quiet time? Are you listening to the things God's telling you? Are you praying to God daily and talking with Him, having a conversation with Him? Are you talking to others and having a dialogue that's beneficial and uplifting and informative for you? And are you loving others? Are you honoring God through your worship, through your lifestyle, through your social media, through your conversation with others? Asking yourself all of those things and making sure they align. Making sure your relational priorities are in check. Are you being a good parent? Are you being a good spouse? Are you being a good child? Are you being a good sibling? Are you being a good friend? If you're not, how can you fix those? If our relationships are in check, we're able to set good examples for these students. And let's be real, most of these students probably don't have a healthy lifestyle with friends, maybe with family, with their siblings. So we need to be able to demonstrate to them what do those effective things look like. Maybe a healthy marriage, even a healthy boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance relationship, whatever that may be, because that might not be prevalent. You want to set those and set them up for success for future relationships as well. And then the last point that was talked about, and I'm just going to preface this. Middle schoolers, they can smell fake from a mile away. Like, it's scary. You're like, oh, they're not going to, nope, I don't know how. Trust me, I deal with it all day long with 13-year-olds. I teach 8th grade. They can tell when you're being fake and when you're just trying to pretend. Be real. Be who you are. If you're not being who you are, you're not being a good example for them. They need to see what it looks like to be real. There's so much fake in the world around us. They don't need that. They need people around them that are showing this is what it looks like to be me, to be someone that loves God, to be someone who lives out my life for God. Be who you are. Find a way to relate to them. I get it. Sometimes it's hard. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about or what you're into. But find ways without compromising who you are to relate to these students. And it will go so much further than you avoiding who you actually are. So the last part, Matthew 22:39 says, love your neighbor as yourself. If you're not loving yourself, you can't love your neighbor. You can't love on our students. If you're not taking the time to pour into yourself, to lead yourself closer to God, to set your priorities, your relationships, everything that's important. If you're not filling up your cup, you really can't fill up these students' cup. So make sure you yourself are getting taken care of. If you need help with that, reach out to one of us. We'll help you. We want that. We want to make sure you are getting poured into so that you can go do the same to our students. So.